You're listening to Calm Living Blueprint Revisited, Reflections from the Path with Dr. Candice Esposito. In this episode, we're going to cover step 4. Now, I'm not going to reveal what that is just yet, but I will tell you that it's a powerful aspect of the mind that largely has been ignored by Western psychology. And as you get to know this part of yourself, you will further be able to transform your relationship with difficult thoughts and feelings of anxiety and fear. When I hear myself say that now, I smile. Not because it was naive, because I was already pointing towards something timeless, even if I didn't yet have the language I have today. Back then, I called it the observing self. And today, I think I like the term pure awareness. Nothing about that truth has changed. In the original episode, I asked a simple question. Has anyone ever criticized you or called you out for not listening? And did you ever reply to them by saying something like, "Sorry, I was somewhere else"? When we're somewhere else, where are we? Because anxiety is at its core a kind of absence, a leaving, a drifting away from what's actually happening. We're not broken when this happens. We're simply human. And learning how to return is everything. One of the things that's important to recognize is that there are two very distinct parts of our mind. There's the part that we're all familiar with, the part that thinks, imagines, remembers, analyzes, plans, fantasizes, and so on. Let's call that the thinking self. Okay, the thinking self. Then there's another part of the mind that virtually never gets talked about. We don't even have a word for it in common everyday language. It's the part of your mind that doesn't think, can't think. It just notices. That distinction is still one of the most powerful doorways into freedom. The thinking self imagines, analyzes, judges, predicts. The observing self simply notices. It doesn't argue, it doesn't fix, it doesn't evaluate. It sees. And the moment you recognize that you are the one who sees, not the stream of thought, anxiety loses its authority. Have you ever witnessed a magnificent sunset, and for a moment, as you see it, your thinking self goes quiet, completely quiet? There are no thoughts. You're just silently observing this amazing sunset. That moment is not rare. It's just unprotected. We fall into awareness naturally when life captures us. Beauty does it, presence does it, truth does it. And for a moment, the mind steps aside. That moment is who you are. The observing self is like the sky, and thoughts and feelings are like the weather. Okay, so the observing self is like the sky, thoughts and feelings are like the weather. The weather constantly changes, but no matter how bad it gets, it cannot harm the sky in any way. At the time, this metaphor helped people cope with anxiety. Now I see it helps people re-identify. You are not the storm. You are not the cloud. You are the field in which all of it appears. And the field is untouched. Like the sky, the observing self does not change. It's that part of you that truly sees the big picture. Your body changes. Your roles change. Your emotions change. Your stories change. But awareness does not. And anxiety softens when you stop trying to stabilize what was never meant to be stable. Pure awareness. Pure awareness. Awareness of our awareness. At the time, this may have sounded abstract to some listeners. Today, I'd say it more simply. Pure awareness is the place in you that knows you're anxious without becoming anxious. It's the space that allows pain without being harmed by it. And once you experience that directly, something fundamental shifts. You stop running. I'd like you to start by closing your eyes for a minute and simply notice what your mind does. Stay on the lookout for any thoughts or images. Right now, if it feels okay, pause. Notice a thought, any thought. Then notice the noticing. That's it. 2 processes, thinking and knowing. And you are the knowing. Now, sometimes at this point, when I'm working with a client, the client will say to me, something along the lines of, I don't get it. I don't seem to have an observing self. I just keep thinking. I think my response to this still matters. And my response to that is, can you notice yourself telling me this? Can you notice your feelings of confusion? Can you notice all your thoughts about not getting it? Can you notice me talking to you? Can you notice what you're thinking now about my replies? And inevitably, the answer is always yes. Okay, so there you go. That's the part of you that notices everything. That's your observing self. You cannot not have awareness. You can only overlook it. Our thinking self is kind of like a radio, constantly playing in the background. Okay, and most of the time, it's what I like to call the doom and gloom show, right? This radio that our thinking self broadcasts negative stories, it seems, 24/7. The radio doesn't need to be destroyed. It doesn't need to be replaced with positive thinking either. It simply doesn't need to be obeyed. Awareness chooses where attention goes. Say you're in a social situation and your mind is saying things like, I'm so boring. I have nothing to say. I wish I could go home. Those thoughts still arise for people. But awareness doesn't argue with them. It keeps listening. It keeps feeling. It stays present with the other person. And anxiety loosens because attention returns to life. This breathing practice still teaches everything needed. Now let any thoughts and images come and go in the background, as if they were cars passing by outside your house. When a new thought or image appears, briefly acknowledge its presence, as if you were, kind of nodding at a passing motorist. As you do this, keep your attention on the breath, following the air as it flows in and out of your lungs. Unhooking is not force, it's remembrance. I also want to stress that this is an acceptance strategy, not a control strategy. That sentence alone dissolves decades of struggle. Awareness doesn't control life, it allows life. And life, when allowed, reorganizes itself. The observing self is always there and instantly accessible whenever you want it. You never needed to become someone else to feel safe. You simply needed to remember who was already here. In the next episode, we'll continue this arc, exploring how awareness reshapes identity, values, and choice. I'm Dr. Candice Esposito, and this is Calm Living Blueprint Revisited.